Hello and welcome to another episode of Brown Guy Does Life. And today we are going to be cooking some butter chicken. And to do that, we need to get some groceries. So that's what we're on our way to do right now. So a quick Google search would reveal not one or two, but dozens if not hundreds of butter chicken recipes. They vary in complexity and ingredients used. What I'm going to present today is my take on butter chicken, which I think should be a happy medium. Welcome to the Brown Guy Kitchen, and this is where the action's going to happen. The ingredients should be up on the screen. Just want to disclose this up front that if you are allergic to cashew nuts or dairy, this recipe is probably not the best for you. So first up, what you want to do is to dice the onions. It doesn't have to be diced incredibly fine. Smaller size just helps it cook faster and better. Following this, dice the tomatoes. That should do it.
Yep.
So next up, what you want to do is to cube the chicken, turn them into bite-sized chunks. You can have larger pieces if you would like. This is just a personal preference. For this recipe, I have used chicken breasts. Feel free to use chicken thighs. Once the chicken has been cubed, what you want to do next is to add some salt to it. And following that, you want to add some coriander powder and give it a nice mix in. Once you have all the ingredients prepped, go ahead and season a pan with some oil. In this case, I've used olive oil. I personally don't think the oil itself makes that much of a difference. And you're going to throw in the onions and you start sauteing them slowly. What you're trying to get is a nice golden brown color. Once the onions have turned brown, the next course of action is to add the tomatoes. And after the tomatoes, we're going to throw in the cashew nuts. We're going to throw in a cup of cashew nuts here. And then we add the spices one after the other. So first, some garam masala. And then some of the red chili powder. And we want to saute this mixture. You'll know when it's ready when you see the water coming out of the tomatoes. Once it's ready, the next step is to turn off the heat and then to slowly start loading the contents from the skillet or the pan that you are using into a blender. Once the blender is loaded, we're going to add a half cup of water just to help the blending process. Once everything is in, well, close it up and let's go. Now, if you have help in the kitchen, you can do this next step in parallel with everything we've demonstrated so far. What you want to do is once again season a pan using a skillet with some oil and we want to saute the chicken that you marinated earlier with salt and coriander powder. Now, one thing to be careful of here is that we don't necessarily want to cook it through, we just want to lightly sear it. Alternatives to this include grilling the chicken, lightly frying it, baking it. All those are equally viable. Now, this next step is strictly speaking optional. You do not necessarily have to do this, but I recommend it anyway just because it gives you a really creamy consistency to the butter chicken at the end. So whatever you put in the blender, we're gonna filter it like so. This is arguably the most painstaking or even annoying part of making butter chicken for me. Keep in mind the contents in the blender, they are 100% edible right now. We're just going the extra mile. Up next, you're gonna take some butter, in this case 5 tablespoons of it, and we're gonna melt it. Following this, you're gonna add some ginger garlic paste to the melting butter, and you're essentially going to let the ginger garlic paste cook in the butter. You're gonna take the contents from the blender that you just filtered through the sieve, and you're going to add it to the melted butter and ginger garlic paste. Add salt to taste as required. Keep stirring until you have a nice and even consistency. And then you add the chicken. Once the chicken is all in, give it a nice healthy coating of that gravy. So depending on how well you cook the chicken prior, the amount of time it needs to spend in the gravy will vary. If you didn't cook the chicken all the way through, I'd recommend putting the lid on and letting it simmer for a few minutes just to ensure that the meat is cooked and all the flavor gets locked in as well. And that was butter chicken. We hope you enjoyed this video. We're just gonna pull up some nutritional information about what we just made. Granted, these are estimates, but just at a glance, you can quite easily tell that this isn't the healthiest thing you should be eating, or at least not eating regularly. But as an indulgence every now and again, it's definitely worth the hassle. If you'd like to see more videos like this, or like to see us try out different recipes, let us know. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 100 subscribers so we can get that custom URL. Until next time, take care.